Interesting thing, when I used to do the user researchers, I did have businesses that said, why should I pay? Because Beyonce, Kanye West is already rich. And I've read in the private music license deals that they only pay like what, 6 to 11% in royalty to artists and musicians. And I found it so amazingly that Soundtracker brand gives back more than 50% of all the revenue you generate to the creative industry, which should be the case of all B2B business providers. So you are showing the way. And it's important that artists are fairly being paid when their music is used by commercial premises. How does the competitor's royalty B2B distribution model looks like compared now to the Soundtrack Your Brand, thanks to the new distribution model you have? Plus, what are the benefits for the artists and the music industry? And most importantly, how much will the artists actually get paid?
Right, so this is the same complexity as in the consumer space, and I'll try to address it clearly and kind of transparently, because we are completely transparent in our model in terms of we charge $50 for unlimited and $35 for essential, or two different products. And in those products, in the unlimited, we distribute overall at around 50% of what we extract to the music industry, to the labels and the publishers. And we do it by taking a lot of value per subscription. So if you look at a subscription, we're obviously charging 10 times more, and we're distributing 10 times more royalties on the label example per subscription. Then you're actually, in the next phase of that, you're talking about the record labels and the publishers deal in their terms, their commercial deals with their artists and their deals with their composers for the publishing side. And that's actually their business. We don't control the business relationship that they have with their artists. But going back to your previous question, what we do is we distribute the right data to them right now, because we have direct deals with 10,000 labels and publishers, meaning that we are connected to their content pipeline. We're getting constant updates of content, as well as their data pipelines, meaning that we're getting updates in real time on who owns what track in the world. And that's, millions of updates the whole time. That's the complexity of streaming. In order to give them the right reporting and pay them the right royalties based on what's being played. And so they can take that, okay, this little artist in Nebraska was actually played 12 times in Stockholm at this rate card, which gives her this amount of money, and they should be paying her according to their commercial deal. That's a very important point, answering your second. The data connectivity to labels and publishers according to the streaming model is something that only Soundtrack has in the world. Our legacy competitors, they have so-called indirect licensing, which is fine. It's not illegal. They are licensing through societies, and then how they actually do it, that's another question, but I won't address that. I'll just address the general model. That model as such does not have the data connectivity to the labels and the publishers in real time. It doesn't allow them to get data updates on who owns what and so forth. And the reporting is done manually. And the reporting then obviously doesn't provide them with the data power of, in real time, playback based, reconcile to the artist or the songwriter correctly based on what's being played. So it's broken in my humble perspective. It's not a functioning flow-through model. It's an analog manual structure with multiple instances of potential, inefficiencies and mistakes. And there's no transparency. So why not?
Yeah,
why not apply the streaming model that's now shown? At least it's transparent. You can think what you want about it and the rate structure, but at least it's based on paying the artist and the creative on if their art is used. And I prefer paying them 10 times more.
Yes, and it's as you say, another black hole in the industry has been the reporting. I mean, data is gold, and before it hasn't been possible, probably because of technology. So if you're able to not spoil it, but tell us a little bit, like, how are you guys solving it? Is it AI? Is it blockchain technology? There's a lot of people in the industry talking about these kind of technologies to be able to solve this.
I think it's very simple. We're solving it the same way Spotify is solving it. There's no rocket science in actually reporting on usage basage. It's very complex and it's super expensive to build, and it's taken $50 million to build. But once you've built it and you've connected all the pipelines to the rights holders, it's a machine, and the machine distributes fairly transparently on playback basis and on different rate cards around the world to the right songwriter, to the right artist. And that's for me very satisfying to say. And then that we've been able to raise the rates and then hence the royalty payout, that's even more satisfying because I'm creating an additional line item on the artist's royalty report. It might not pay the rent first month, but I mean, if we grow this, it can be a substantial incremental income for the creators. And I think it's unacceptable that there is a market out there selling music to retailers that think they're doing the right thing, and the money doesn't flow through to the artist. That is completely unacceptable in my meaning. And that is, in some instances, the case today. And there is today a solution. It should be deployed throughout the market as the industry standard, and everyone should comply to the transparency of the streaming model. That's my subjective, and obviously building soundtrack, it's my opinion, but I think it's a very logical approach.